Before we go to our first break here on Sports Talk Chicago with Joey Christopoulos, right here on WLS AM 890, is the coaching search. Ooh, it is heating up. It is a who's who of who and wow and could it be. So I'm just going to read these names off to you, and I'm just going to kind of cherry pick a couple of them because a couple of them are fresh into the chat on this one. They have asked and requested interviews with Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, Thomas Brown, who is our interim head coach, will get an interview. Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. Mike Kafka, offensive coordinator of the New York Giants. David Shaw, who's currently a senior personnel executive for the Denver Broncos, but was formerly the head coach of Stanford. Joe Brady, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. We'll see if Pete Carroll gets a swing at this. Mike Vrabel's coming up. He just interviewed probably a couple days ago by the time you're listening to this on Saturday here on WLS AM 890. And then the other one was Mike McCarthy. Now, Mike McCarthy, very polarizing character. And I will be honest with you that it's one of those things where we have to be really careful how we emotionally ingest some of this information. Because on its face, right, Mike McCarthy has a lot of public persona fatigue. Also a former Green Bay Packer. Also a guy who, personality-wise, speaks mostly monotone, doesn't show a lot of emotion up or down. You could say that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, but sometimes for fans, they could take that a certain way. There are a lot of media people that also say Mike McCarthy was born on third base. And I'm going to go through some of these stats here, and we're going to be able to kind of pick and parcel a little bit of what's true and what isn't, and you can make your own decision and opinion on that. But they have asked for permission from the Dallas Cowboys to talk to Mike McCarthy. Now, here are the stats. Mike McCarthy, career record 174 and 122, winning percentage of .608 by any measure in the NFL. That is not just an above-average coach, but that is a good NFL coach. Currently 49 and 35 in his career in Dallas. He's 1-3 in playoffs. That's not so great. He has 3 10-win seasons. With Green Bay, he was 125 and 77. He went 10-8 in the playoffs. He has 8 10-win seasons. Now, a lot of people will say that he was a great regular season coach and then obviously didn't get it done in the playoffs. We all know Robbie Gould knocking the Packers out of the playoffs. We all watched that and enjoyed it greatly. Mike McCarthy was on the receiving end of that. The part that I found to be incredibly interesting was all the people out there. I just want to throw this out there for all of you that are Ben Johnson or bust. In 12 of his 18 seasons as a head coach for Mike McCarthy, his teams finished top 10 in points. In 14 of his 18 seasons as NFL head coach, he finished top 10 in passing yards. When it comes to offensive Mike McCarthy, it's never been a problem before, and here's the huge BUT ... with that. His quarterback was Aaron Rodgers. Can't stand Aaron Rodgers. Rooted against him my entire life, but at the very least, we have to, on its face, say that Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, was one of the greats, and played at a truly, truly, truly elite level for many, many years. So are we going to say Mike McCarthy made Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers made Mike McCarthy, or is it a combo of whatever? Dak Prescott, a little bit similar. He did have a huge season before Mike McCarthy came on, but ever since Mike McCarthy has been there, Dak Prescott has put up huge numbers every single year. And in the playoffs, we can also say, is that a product of Dak Prescott not playing well, or is it the product of Mike McCarthy dropping the ball? The reason why Mike McCarthy is so polarizing is because he has had so much success. He's had so much success that when he falls a little bit short, and there's only one team that can win the Super Bowl every single year, he immediately gets criticized. Now, I will say that he is a bit of a retread. It does feel a bit uninspired, but if you're talking about one side of the room, Mike Vrabel, the guy that I want. The other side of the room, Ben Johnson, the guy that a lot of people in Chicago want. The two main differentiators there is Ben Johnson is offensive forward, and Mike Vrabel has the experience. Mike McCarthy is both of those. Now, I'm not advocating. I don't think Mike McCarthy is my number one choice. It's still Mike Vrabel for me, and Ben Johnson is probably number 2. But Mike McCarthy definitely deserves consideration. And I don't think it would be the worst thing, or the Bears would be in the worst shape in the world if Mike McCarthy became their head coach. Pete Carroll is another guy that deserves consideration. Now, 73 years old, you can talk me out of not doing it because of age. What's his longevity factor? Again, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not worried about the next 5 to 10 years. I'm worried about the next 3. I want the next 3 years to be profitable, successful, and enough where we re-sign Caleb Williams. He's happy in Chicago. We know Caleb Williams is good, and we can move forward towards a path to trying to win Super Bowls after that. But this is a 3-year plan right now. We can easily screw this up. Do not worry about the 5 to 10 years for right now. Let's just hone in on the next couple. So Pete Carroll's another guy that has not been offered an interview yet, but definitely deserves consideration. He's 137 and 89. That's a 606 regular season winning percentage. He has 8-10 win seasons too as well. He's 10-9 in the playoffs. He's had top 10 offenses. He's had top 10 defenses. He's had it on both sides of the ball. The dude is a good head football coach. I understand the allure of interviewing a lot of these guys that are first timers, and Ryan Poles trying to find some kind of diamond in the rough. And I think maybe at the end of the day, much against maybe my opinion, or maybe the fact that I do want Mike Vrabel, maybe it does end up being Ben Johnson. But as Bears fans, I'm just imploring you that we have to consider all of these options. Any Bears fan out there that's saying hard pass to anything right now, I just don't think we have the luxury of doing that. We aren't good enough. We do not have the front office capable of being that arrogant to say, well, no, we're good here. No, they need to make major strides. And the reason why I like a guy like Mike Vrabel is because I'm so worried about this front office that I think we just need someone that has a tried, true, principled method and theory for success in winning football, and just like let him do that. I don't need synergy with George, Kevin, and eventually Ryan with the head coach. I just need the head coach to do what he needs to do on the football side. Hopefully Ryan Poles makes better decisions on the personnel side and leave Kevin and George as far out of it as possible. I'm worried that if they bring Ben Johnson in, they're going to force different kinds of mentors on him or different ways and guardrails to help him move along and get comfortable in his job when they have absolutely no idea what they're doing on the football side. But get ready, it's begun. Get excited. The rumor mill has started. And keep in mind, too, why are they interviewing so many of these people? Well, look, this is also agent fulfilling the promise to their client request. A lot of this stuff is good news for a lot of these guys where they have no shot at getting the job, but hopefully you get them a round or two in the head coaching cycle. People get to know people a little bit, and maybe some of these guys eventually mature. And a couple cycles later, maybe get an opportunity to bite at the apple and become a head coach. This is kind of how it goes right now. It's a little transactional that a lot of these guys probably are not being heavily considered. But it's not a bad idea to meet people, learn some different philosophies, and create some different kinds of relationships. All you're hearing right now is that, well, who knows who, and what are the backdoor connections, and why people are more comfortable working with people that they already have in the past. Well, it's a good idea for the Chicago Bears to forge new relationships with some of these people moving forward, because you just never know who you're going to want to work with in the future. So talk to a Todd Monken. Get to know an Anthony Weaver. You never know when you might need to hire a defensive coordinator in a couple of years. Maybe that guy will be Anthony Weaver one day. I don't know. Another name to keep an eye on, if it is Ben Johnson, is Lou Arenamo. Lou Arenamo is the former interim defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He just got let go by the Broncos. He's going to be a free agent. He has worked with Ben Johnson before in the past. He could possibly be a defensive coordinator if Ben Johnson comes on board. So Lou Arenamo, get used to that name. But it's going to be wild. There's going to be a lot of rumors. And all I implore to you Bears fans is that, when you're at the bar and stuff like that, have fun with these types of conversations. Don't fight with each other, because no one really actually knows what's going on. There's a lot of maneuvering, a lot of posturing, a lot of leveraging going on between agent, client, organization. There's a lot of transaction going on right now that is beneficial for the future of either the client or the agent or the organization, and has nothing to do with actual football and decision making. So a lot of this stuff right now, we have to sort of take a little bit with a grain of salt. And in a week or two, keep tuning in here to Sports Talk Chicago with Joey Christopoulos right here in WLS AM 890. And we're going to start to drill in and get specific. And I'm working on right now trying to find a way to figure out who the next head coach of the Chicago Bears is through different channels and sources. And I hope to bring that information to you when it happens.